Welcome back. Ready to dive in? We're tackling AI this time, and let me tell you, the future is looking pretty wild, right? Like, remember that whole SpaceX thing?
Yeah, the little chopsticks catching the rocket booster midair.
Exactly. Talk about sci-fi becoming reality. I mean, that's some next-level stuff. What's your take on that whole reusable rocket thing?
It's huge. I mean, just think about it. Reusable rockets. It's not just about the wow factor, though that's definitely there. This changes everything about space exploration.
How so?
Well, for starters, it drastically cuts down the cost of launching stuff into space. And on top of that, it means we can launch things faster, more frequently. It basically opens up a whole world of possibilities for space travel and exploration, makes it way more accessible.
It's like hitting the fast forward button on the whole space race. And while we're on the topic of pushing boundaries, we've got to talk about Adobe, right? They're
Yeah.
jumping into this whole AI game big time, and some of the stuff they're coming out with is really impressive, especially for creatives. This is exciting stuff.
For sure.
So there's this new AI system they've developed called Firefly, right? It can generate these incredibly realistic videos, like something out of Midjourney or DALL-E, but with a twist. They're marketing it as ethical AI. Have you heard about this?
Oh, yeah. That's a big deal. There's been a lot of talk about copyright issues with AI-generated content, right?
Right.
So what Adobe's done is trained Firefly on a massive database of copyright-free images and data, which means anything you create with it is totally safe to use commercially. No legal headaches or anything like that.
That's a game changer, especially for creatives who've been a bit hesitant to fully embrace AI because of those copyright questions.
Absolutely. It really opens up a lot of creative possibilities.
Yeah.
And that's not all Adobe's been up to. They've also come up with this other really cool tool.
Oh, you mean perfect blend?
Yes, yeah, exactly. You know how frustrating it can be to get the lighting right in group photos? Like someone's always in the shadows or the colors are off. Well, Perfect Blend uses AI to analyze and adjust the lighting in your photos automatically.
And it's crazy how realistic it looks. I mean, you wouldn't even know it was AI generated.
It's the technology behind it that's really impressive, though. The AI can actually differentiate between different light sources, understand how they interact, and then adjust the shadows, highlights, everything to create a perfectly lit image.
Hmm.
And the applications go way beyond just photography. Think about the possibilities for film, for VR.
It's mind-blowing.
It is, and it gets better. Adobe also has this thing called Project Turntable, which is huge, especially for animation.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Okay, so you know how in animation you have to draw every single frame of movement, right?
Yeah, incredibly time-consuming, right?
Exactly. It's super tedious, especially when you're talking about complex characters or movements.
Mhm.
But Project Turntable changes all that. You basically draw your character once, and the AI creates a 3D model that you can rotate and pose however you want.
Wow. So it's like having an army of animators at your fingertips.
Pretty much. And the implications are huge, especially for smaller studios, independent animators. This kind of technology has the potential to democratize the whole animation process.
Make it accessible to anyone with a good story to tell.
Precisely. And that means more diverse voices, more unique perspectives. It's a good thing. Speaking of shaking things up, Nvidia's making waves in the AI world too.
Oh, yeah, that new open source AI model they just dropped.
The one that's already giving GPT-4 a run for its money. That's the one.
What's the deal with open source? Why is everyone so excited about that?
So open source basically means that Nvidia is making the code behind their AI model freely available to anyone who wants to use it, modify it, even share their own versions of it.
Interesting. So it's like a giant leap forward in AI development because now anyone can contribute.
Exactly. And that has the potential to accelerate innovation like crazy. It empowers smaller companies, startups, even individual developers to create cutting-edge AI applications.
Wow. The future of AI is looking more and more like a collaborative effort. And while we are on the topic of the future of AI, we've got to talk about what Meta's been cooking up. Their new 3D tracking AI is so precise. It's almost eerie.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Uh,
We're talking about AI that can interact with the physical world on a whole new level. Like it understands depth and movement in a way that we haven't seen before. And the potential applications are massive.
oh, yeah. Like what?
Like everything. Think about sports analysis, medical imaging, augmented reality. We're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
It's both exciting and a little bit unnerving, to be honest. But let's bring it back down to earth for a minute and talk about how some of these advancements are showing up in the consumer tech we use every day, yeah.
Sounds good. What do you have in mind?
Well, like Apple's new iPad mini, for example. Rumor has it they've packed it with all this AI potential, but the software hasn't quite caught up yet.
Yeah, it wouldn't be an Apple product launch without a healthy dose of future-proofing, would it?
Mm.
They love to hint at those future capabilities. Whether it's a marketing tactic or genuine foresight, only time will tell, right?
Time will tell. Now, for something a little out there, have you heard about these smart glasses that MTech Labs is developing?
The ones that track your eating habits.
Yeah. Like they can tell if you're reaching for that extra cookie.
And your emotions, too, apparently. It's amazing technology, no doubt. But it does make you think about where we're headed with all this. Like, how much of our lives are we comfortable handing over to technology?
Yeah.
It's a question we all have to grapple with, I think.
It's a conversation we need to be having for sure. But hey, let's end on a positive note, shall we? What about that new FTC ruling on subscriptions? The click to cancel rule. Finally.
Oh, yeah. That's a win for consumers.
Yeah.
It's about time those frustrating subscription models got an overhaul.
Uh-huh.
Now, canceling a subscription has to be just as easy as signing up, which just makes sense, right?
It does. It feels good to end on a win, but it's important to remember this is just the beginning, people. AI is moving fast, changing all the rules. And as we keep diving deeper into this world, let's keep those bigger questions in mind, like